Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tru You Podcast, a storytelling space for self discovery, where we use this safe and brave space to address racial trauma and healing for Black women through our own lived experiences. I'm Kelley, and this is my co host.
Hi, I'm Debbie. We are a mother and daughter team having real conversations about real issues shared by and for Black women because we have something to say.
Yes, we do. And hi, everyone, and happy Black History Month. This has been a great time to learn about our history and uplift our ancestors. And it really never ceases to amaze me the achievements that have been made despite all of the obstacles that have been and continue to be in the way. So, feeling really good about the month and just the things that I have learned. And so, yeah, we're feeling really good coming into this space. Ma, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. And it's funny. As you were talking about Black History Month, you think, we know a lot because we are Black. But there are so many things that have been left out of our history that we don't know. And I am just grateful just for the information that has been shared just these past couple of weeks during worship service, but also my own individual study. So, yeah, I'm really excited about Black History Month, but I'm also excited about the fact that this is February is Heart Health Month. And it's when all people can focus on their cardiovascular health, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, it's a twofold month, and it's something that we as Black people need to be aware of, but also it's a good month to celebrate our history as well. So we usually have an exciting new guest every episode, but this episode, we're going to keep it small. It's going to just be the two of us, which is exciting because we talk all the time. So let's get
Yes,
right
we
to it.
do. Yes, we do. So, today's title, and I don't know if you guessed it, but it's called "Living with the Pressure," and so it's a topic that actually affects both of us, and that's high blood pressure, which is also known as hypertension. So, for those who don't know, high blood pressure is basically the force of blood flowing through the blood vessels, and it's a lot higher than normal. And so the danger in that is that it can lead to higher risk of heart attack, stroke, congestive heart failure, and kidney disease. And so I could just get right into it and share a little bit about how I found out that I had high blood pressure. So it was, I think it was around 2019. I was going through a rough period because my grandmother passed that year, and so I was a little bit of in a depressed state. But at the time, I wasn't really like exercising as much and things like that, and so. After a while, I just really wasn't feeling well, and I was getting these dull headaches all the time. And so finally I'm like, because a lot of times I'm like, oh, let me just take some aspirin. So I was trying to take aspirin and it just was not going away. And I'm like, something's just not right. But of course, you 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 try to find everything else s- to say what the reason is before you just say, okay, you need to go to the doctor. So eventually went to the doctor, and my blood pressure was extremely high. And um, right then and there, um, they put me on medication, but it was really more of like a water pill, a diuretic. And they also said, like maybe if you lose some weight, you won't have to be on this pill. So that was kind of my introduction, but it really kind of scared me because my grandmother actually did have high blood pressure as well. So, and she had it, I don't even know how long, for as long as I could remember, she had high blood pressure, and I could remember her taking her medicine and eating a banana with her medicine, but never really realizing like what it really meant. But yeah, that was really how I found out. And so that was kind of my introduction, because you hear about these things, but it's never really real to you. So, Mom, how did you find out that you had high blood pressure?
Actually, my story is very similar to yours. It was back in 2019, and I started off with some mild headaches. It was also, of course, during the time when Mom, she was in the hospital, and we were um, worried about her and sitting in the hospital, mindlessly eating, not taking care of ourselves. And I know I was not sleeping. So I always had a headache, and so I would take Tylenol. And so I'm thinking it was because of grief, the headaches, and the fact that Mom had made her transition. And so I just was actually a wreck. Ended up going for therapy and was not feeling well, just like you. Took me a while to kind of move through to a point where I didn't need a therapist anymore, but I did need spiritual counseling. Still dealing with not really feeling well. And so eventually it was time for my yearly checkup with my doctor. And she told me that I had high blood pressure. And I said, I've never had high blood pressure before. She said, I know. And I said, well, maybe you should take it again. She said, I'm going to take it again. And she did, and it was higher.
Oh boy.
So, yeah. And so I sat there for a little while longer, and it started going down a little bit. And then she took my pressure again just before I left, and it had gone down, but not to where um, she wanted it to be. And so she wanted to put me on an a high blood pressure medication, but she didn't want to leave me on it for too long because I have the one kidney, which we discussed in another episode. And the longer I would be on the medication, it may damage my kidney, the one that I
Mhm.
have left. So she cautioned me about losing weight, and I had not realized that I had gained as much weight as I had, sitting there in the hospital, mindlessly eating junk, not really eating real meals um, with Mom, and then you move into the fact that my job was I was working from home, so I wasn't moving around as much anymore either. So I had gained an excessive amount of weight. I didn't realize I had gained so much, but she did tell me that once I lost some of the weight, my blood pressure would probably start to get to a manageable um, level, and she would be able to take me off of the high blood pressure medication. But yeah, Mom, yeah, she was on high blood pressure medication, um, and it. I never thought that I would end up on it because my pressure, whenever I'd gone to the doctor, was always very, very low, actually. And so it just really kind of threw me to find out that now I've got to be on medication because I didn't take any medication. So it really kind of bothered me. But at the same time, I did know that it was hereditary. Mom had it, and and then you got it. And so I needed to take better care of myself. And so I knew I needed to start trying to live with it, manage my high blood pressure. So she gave me several things to do to start working on getting my blood pressure down, in addition to cutting salt, cutting a lot of uh, excess munching. The munching that I would do. I love chips. That's not a good thing because they had salt on it. And so I started getting away from the fried foods, eating just chicken and fish, and cutting back on portion sizes. I started increasing my water intake. And another thing that helps with cardio thus that, with your heart is moving around, so I just, I used to always work out all the time anyway, but you know kind of got sedentary, stopped moving as much, a lot of various reasons. And so I started trying to get back into my rhythm of working out, walking. So started walking 4 to 5 times a week. And then I also wear an app, where my iPhone, not my iPhone, but my iWatch. Is it called a what?
Your Apple Watch.
What
Yep.
is it called? My Apple Watch.
Yeah.
My Apple Watch has an app on it, and I make sure that I, try to take at least 10,000 steps a day and keep moving around every hour, because, when you're retired like I am now, I I was not moving around as much either. So there were a lot of reasons why I had gained weight and why my blood pressure had kicked up. And so I had to start paying attention to my day. What am I doing each day? So I had to start monitoring my blood pressure. I started monitoring and writing it down twice, maybe once or twice a week, taking my blood pressure. And it's, I've had several different blood pressure machines, because they seem to, either I was told it was the wrong one I bought, or the batteries would go out too soon. So there's a special one that I'm told I need to go back and research that much better than others. The thing is, though, my blood pressure, it still kind of fluctuates. Is not as high as it was, and the reason it's not as high also is because I'm on blood pressure medication. Um, I went to I've had hip replacement surgery. So during a time of the replacement surgery, I was in pain. My blood pressure kept shooting up. So they increased my blood pressure pill. So I'm still on that pill. But again, it's hard to manage the weight, and then trying to work with keeping my blood pressure down. So it's been a journey. It really has. But at least I'm grateful that my headaches are gone. But at the same time, I have to just keep pushing through, managing my blood pressure. How about you, Kelly? What are you doing currently to manage your blood pressure?
Yeah. So, in order to manage, the blood pressure, I tried a lot of the things that you mentioned, and just thinking about like the timing of everything happening, that was like right before the pandemic. So I knew I needed to lose weight, but because of like not being able to go to the gym like I used to and things like that, I think that was a factor in not really being able to do the activities that I would normally do to lose weight, but also not to make excuses. I mean, it is 2024, but weight has always been like a struggle for me. So I do go up and down in weight, but really not enough where I've been able to get off the blood pressure medicine yet. So I've talked to a nutritionist. They have something called a DASH plan, which is in particular for people with high blood pressure. I've also just tried to watch, food intake, and I also have a blood pressure a home blood pressure machine that, I use not as often as you do, mom, but like occasionally I use it, not twice a day. And also just really focusing on be remembering to take my medicine, which is important. And unfortunately, now I'm on two medications, because the blood pressure has gone up too high, where they prescribe two. So my goals of trying to manage have not really been as successful as I would have liked, because what I would have liked was to have been off the medicine. And since I never took medicine before like you, um but unfortunately I'm still struggling trying to manage the high blood pressure, and I do sometimes still get the headaches. And then I know, like, okay, my blood pressure feels like, it's a little high, and I need to probably take my medicine right away or something. Like usually it happens when I wake up in the morning or something, then I'll feel the headaches. So yeah, it is a journey trying to manage high high blood pressure at the end of the day. But I am fortunate because upon like research, just reading, a lot of people, they don't have symptoms of the high blood pressure. So I'm grateful that I did have like some of those symptoms that alerted me that something was wrong. So I will say that. But yeah, um, it's still a journey. I'm still trying to manage the high blood pressure. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So let's talk a little bit about our struggles with weight loss for a moment,
Yes.
because it is a struggle. When I was younger, I was able to lose weight pretty fast. I didn't eat that much. I was working. I had a lot of energy, and I was always going somewhere, always walking, always taking a workout class. We Kelley and I, we've done those 5Ks and 10Ks, and very active, and was always pretty healthy. We took boxing classes, very active. But it seems as though since I've aged, I'd say ever since 2019, um, I've had several surgeries, and I can't, it seems like 2019 was that turning point for me. I've had two surgeries since then. And you get to the point, when you have hip replacement and knee replacement surgery, two years in a row, you can't move that much. And so it doesn't matter how much you eat or don't eat, I still gained weight. And so what I had to do was force myself to just get up, and I would make myself get up and move. I'd take a couple of Tylenol, even, and this is even before the surgery, and just keep moving around because you could kind of feel the weight, and it's hard trying to lose weight when you're in pain. And then once the surgery is over, then you got to work through that pain. And finally, I'm at a point now where I can work out again and start eating healthier. And I have been eating healthier as far as, salads and fruits. I have tried everything. Um, Military diet, intermittent fasting, and then I've merged the two together. I've done everything to try to lose weight in this season of life, and it has just been a journey. And it seems like I can lose 2 to 3 pounds or maybe even 6 pounds. And then if I stop doing one thing or take a break, I gain 5 pounds. So it's like if I look at a Snickers or a bag of M&Ms, I
Yeah.
gain weight. And it's the most frustrating. I mean, these are things that I love too. And I try not to eat the chocolate anymore. And because I know that is my Achilles heel right there. And so I don't even look at it anymore because I know what'll happen. So it is very frustrating weight for me in this season, and I'm sure that there are some other women my age that have been able to successfully lose weight. And I don't know if it's my if I just have big bones. I don't know if that's true or not. I think everybody's bones are the same size. I don't know. But I think that my bones just weigh too much. But anyway, it's frustrating. And it just seems as though um, I just look at food and I gain weight. And so I just have to keep pushing through, keep trying to um, eat the fruits and the vegetables, stay away from the salt, because I know one thing impacts the other. If I gain more weight, then my blood pressure will continue to go up, which will impact other parts. And I need to work on that. And so I do understand the importance of trying to lose weight, and I will continue to work, to get my weight to where it needs to be. I know I need to lose at least 10 to 15 pounds or more. I don't know. But anyway, it is a struggle. It's something that I have not had to deal with in the past, but now I understand what people go through because I've never had to deal with weight gain before, but now all of a sudden I'm dealing with weight gain, and it's just really frustrating. So, how about you, Kelley? What are your struggles?
My struggles with weight loss, um, for a large part of my life, probably most of my life, I've always struggled with weight and always on a diet and always I can remember even as a little girl, like I'm probably telling my age, but it was remember Get in Shape Girl. You
Yep,
remember
I
buying me that,
remember
Mom?
that.
And I would be in the living room trying to work out and playing like these with like it was a ribbon and trying to do little
Hmm.
exercises to lose weight. Like I always was like, oh, I want to lose weight. And so like it started from being young, like a young girl trying to lose weight into like really trying to lose weight as a teenager. But yeah, and like it's it's really been like a big part of my entire life of struggling with weight and weight loss. And like you said, like it was easier to lose weight if I say, "Oh, I'm okay, forget it. I'm getting serious now. I'm going to lose weight," and then I'll lose maybe 5 to 10 pounds, like of up and down, up and down. And so, but in the past, like if I would do certain things, the weight would come off. And like I guess, like you say, you get a certain age and now like it's not as easy. You have to do way more to lose 1 pound. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm basically, you know, I've tried everything: starvation, intermittent diet, um, I don't know, the Beyonce lemonade diet, and none of those are. I mean, those aren't really healthy diets. So let's just be honest about that. But I've tried them all. I've tried, Weight Watchers, um, challenges, and the list goes on. And so, um, my struggle with weight and like you mentioned, like us, I think what has helped is like we're accountability partners. Like we still go to the gym and try to make sure that we're at least getting some activity in each day. So that has helped a lot. And you mentioned like boxing, and that was the only I don't really enjoy exercising, but I enjoyed boxing. And so when I was able to be in the boxing class, like I loved it. And like I think that's when I lost the most weight. But things changed, and I'm not really, and I'm not in the boxing class anymore. I'm looking to start that maybe again sometime. But just in terms of like trying to find a balance, I think a lot of it is, um, of course, it's not just exercise; it's education and the foods you eat as well. So I do have to admit, like the choices that you make as far as food have not, well, I've made have not always been the best when it comes to um, maybe takeout and things like that. And also, like you said, candy and sugar and having like those sugar cravings and wanting like, oh, I need some chocolate, or I want some mine is cookies. I always want like some cookies. And so realizing like I can't really even have those things in the house because they're too tempting for me. But when you have other people in your house, like you can't, that's kind of hard as well. So it's like a double-edged sword. So like, this is, like I said, it's a journey that I'm still on, trying to find a balance. And at this point, even looking at like a weight loss surgery at this point, because um I really do want to lose the weight, and I really do want to be serious about my health and how I go about my lifestyle. Because when it comes to like that journey, it is a new lifestyle. So I think you get to the point where you're like, I really need to do something because this way is not working. So yeah, It- we're like on the same path, trying to, and of course, like this is not our first time. Like we're always talking about,
We
like,
are.
oh my gosh, I can't believe like I gained so much weight and I didn't, like I didn't even do anything, like I didn't even eat anything. I don't understand, but like, why are my clothes not fitting like they're supposed to? Yes, it's like our it's something that we always connecting with as far as like the
It's
evilness of weight and the struggles of weight loss.
always,
So, but I mean, we do have a gym that's
yes.
really close by, and like we have like
Yeah.
resources and things like that. But
Hmm.
yes, really, it's not easy. It really isn't.
It really isn't hard, easy at all. It's very hard, and I commend anyone when I and what really gets to me is it seems like in the daytime, anytime you turn the TV on, people are talking about, oh, I lost 15 pounds with, and they name, I'm like, how, what, and it's just so it's irritating, and so you just I turn the TV off because it's really irritating because you are struggling trying to keep 5 pounds off, and you're talking about you lost 20 pounds in 1 month. Really? That makes no sense. But I guess it happens, I guess it
Yeah,
happens, and it's painful. It really is. And I'm just I'm tired of the struggle. I really am. I'm tired of the
yeah,
struggle. But I know
yeah,
the alternative. So gotta
yeah.
do it.
Exactly, and I mean, and it's not even just about the weight. I think the problem is the weight causes other things. So like
Exactly.
because of the weight, now we're dealing with high blood pressure. So like
Hmm.
um it's not even about like looking better, and it's about
It's
your health at this point.
Yeah.
And so
It's about feeling
um
better and living longer.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I want to live a long, healthy life. I don't want to be um not able to move my body, or and living like having no energy, like none of that. I want to be active and do certain things. And so um trying to do the best you can at this point. But I did do some research, and if you can remember, we talked about heart disease with cousin Kara in our episode Black Women's Health Matters. So if you have not checked that out, please check it out. That is another really great episode. According to the CDC, the overall prevalence of high blood pressure is 54% Black adults compared to 46% white adults, 39% in Asians, and 36% for Hispanics. And the reasons range from genetics to environmental factors. So, when you think about like continuously, we've been talking about these things that affect the Black community. It's always these environmental factors, these social determinants that are the reason for us dealing with these diseases and all of these things that are terrible. So, but I do want to tie in that us talking about weight loss, because I also read an article called "The Racist Roots of Fighting Obesity." And it identified Black women as the subgroup with the highest BMI in the United States, and studies showing that the stigma associated with body weight, and not body weight itself, is responsible for the consequences blamed on obesity. So when you're thinking about Black women and all that she endures, so like we're talking about weight, sexism, racism, workplace discrimination, being objectified, the rude comments that Black women endure in social media, and just like you can see it across the board, like certain things that maybe get a pass for another race, but for Black women we're just like totally disregarded. And then also just the list goes on with all the life stresses that Black women deal with. And so all of these things contributes to the higher rates in chronic mental and physical illness, such as the heart disease, which diabetes, dementia, depression, anxiety, etc. So I say all of this to say, like, it's almost like a broken record in these episodes, because like all of these health factors we deal with on a day-to-day basis in our Black community. And so that's why I say, despite all of those things, and this being Black History Month and Heart, month, that we're still able to do great things in spite of, but it doesn't erase the fact that we're still dealing with a lot of these things. And so, Ma, what are your thoughts on all of this? And I'm pretty sure like you've done some research as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have. And I totally agree that stigma associated with Black women's bodies, body weight, and not the weight itself. It's just how we're treated totally different from any other group of people. And so as a result, we are Black women end up with that chronic illness. And then, as you mentioned, Kelley, from that CDC study and also what you just read, the racist roots of fighting obesity. But one thing I did take a look at too is Sister Talk. There was a study done by Sister Talk, and it was a pretty big study that they did. And it was about 461 Black women in this study group. And the one part that really struck me was food choices and cooking methods of Black Americans and how they've been influenced by custom as well as slavery and
Hmm.
discrimination. And although, food scarcity was a major issue in the past, the taste, convenience, and the cost are major factors that drive current food choices of Black Americans. And so there are barriers to eating healthy for Black Americans. If you think about it, in the communities that they live in, they, you know, they don't have the healthy foods that they need. You have a corner store that's a candy store or a corner drugstore. It could even be a gas station. And so it's a matter of trying to eat healthy, and it's sad because there is no social support, and it's the just that cultural symbolism of high fat foods, and then also the fact of there's no the nutritional values. And so even though there are um, even if they do have options of being able to eat healthier, it's the food preparation. Who has time? That's another thing that they talked about, the time to prepare healthy foods. And so culturally, you end up overweight and and eating less healthy. And so there are so many different reasons for the Black woman or the Black Americans eating healthy and also having uh, this high chronic illness. And it's not necessarily because they don't want to eat healthy. Who has time? Some of them, they're working, they're taking care of families. And so that's another issue that Black women deal with, taking, as a single parent, they're taking care of their family, making sure they're eating healthy, but who has time to prepare healthy meals? And so again, there are those diseases, those illnesses, the diabetes, the depression, all of those things that impact the Black community, and of course that chronic illness. And so and I think another thing that kind of gets to me, and it's not just Black women, it's even children. The food advertising, some of the food, everything's got to be big these days. Big bag, give me a huge fry, give me the triple hamburger. Everything is that's another thing that is impacting our communities, is the advertising in those communities. And so there are so many different reasons why our communities are dealing with high blood pressure and diabetes. And I, it just really saddens me um, that some of them just don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And so they live with it.
And that's a good point because I was just thinking about how everything as far as snacks is hot. So you got hot chips, you got hot Takis, you
Mm.
got hot. Everything is hot, and the
Yeah.
ramen noodles. None of that stuff is good for us, but that's what we're
Nope.
eating. Is what's advertised. And not to say like it's just kind of evolving because we had that stuff when it wasn't everything wasn't hot, but like we we add sunflower seeds with hot, put vinegar in it. We had, hot sauce and
Hmm.
pickles. Like all of that stuff was high, with high sodium and things like that. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
a great point that you're making as far as like food choices and what's available and in the environment.
One something that we always touch on this podcast is identifying trauma, but also what do we need for racial healing. And again, we're not clinical experts, but after this conversation, what do you think our community needs for racial healing, Kelley?
Yeah, and we've answered this question before, but I think in this setting, like we need and there I think it's starting like we need healthier choices that are affordable. We need education when it comes to the things that we eat and being aware of the things that we're putting in our bodies, which I mean, a lot of times you're just eating whatever, because you're hungry. And also just within those healthy choices, like if you when you eat something that's bad for so long, like it's hard to switch over to something healthy because it doesn't taste good, right? It doesn't have all those preservatives, it doesn't have like the sugar or the salt and the things and the seasonings. But I think like we need to be educated for, okay, here's some healthy fruits and vegetables, how can we prepare these things that are also just as good, or in different ways. And I don't think like that's expressed a lot. And I know like maybe like these
Mhm.
gardens and community gardens, they're becoming more prevalent, which I think we need in our communities, definitely. I also think like we need just building relationships with one another, like being able to have like support systems and things like this, and knowing that like you're not alone. I think we laugh a lot about like some of these things, like, oh, like everybody has high blood pressure, everybody has, but it's really not funny, like when you think about these things and that are affecting our communities. And so I just
Mhm.
think like we need to be more educate. Like I took the time to do some research and educate myself, and I learned new things that I didn't know, even though I've been dealing with high blood pressure for the last 3-4 years. So yeah, I think what we need for healing is just we need to talk about these things like we're doing right now. We need to come together and
I
just
agree.
know like you're not alone in like these struggles. And I know like weight loss is a huge thing, a lot of people deal with, but um yeah, I think those are some things, some ways where we can start healing when it comes to these things, because it does beat you down and takes a toll on you mentally, knowing that um you have these things going on, but you still have to deal with like everyday life at the same time. So um what's your thoughts on that, Ma?
Oh wow, you've hit several topics right on the head. I like the idea of the garden, the healthy gardens, if possible. But also, I like the idea of a accountability partner, people who walk along, who you walk with, and you encourage one another. Um, that's very helpful for healing in our community. Um, we need to talk about these things. We can't, like you said, we should not laugh about it because it's not funny. I think we need to, the first step is to know what your blood pressure is. You know, find out what is your, what is a typical blood pressure and where do you fall on that. And that's one place that we can help each other, knowing, okay, what's a good blood pressure, and checking our blood pressure regularly. And if you've been diagnosed with blood pressure, um, we talked about this already, having your own blood pressure machine at home and checking your blood pressure. And also, if you've got medication, take your medication.
Yes.
It's not being prescribed because they just want to make you, buy your doctor wants you to just buy medication. It's to help you. You have to take the medicine. Um, that's the only way that you can get past this, in addition to losing some weight. Weight loss is key. And then also tracking your progress. One good thing is to try, just get up and move. Who was that? I used to love watching Michelle Obama when she was always moving. She would work out. I remember her on that, who was it? Ellen DeGeneres' show, and they're doing push-ups on TV. I really admired her because she was really pushing us as Black people to take better care of ourselves. And recording, if making sure that you changing your lifestyle, walking at least 2 to 2.5 hours a week. I mean, that's not a lot, but for some people it can be if you have not been walking. But if you've got someone that you walk with, you need to start moving more, spend a little bit more, 20-30 minutes a day. Just get outside and walk around. So the thing is, it's just a matter. There are some things that we could do on our own for healing, but we need to also follow our doctor's orders. We know how we feel, and we need to be able to, you know, keep track of how we're feeling and doing what we need to do to stay healthy, losing the weight, and staying on our medication. I am just excited. I really loved this episode. I love how it turned out. There are so many other things that we could talk about as far as hypertension and weight and blood pressure. It's just a matter of doing those things that have been prescribed for you, and taking better care of yourself, eating healthier and moving around. So I think I'm done. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but it is just so important that we eat healthier and exercise more. Kelley, anything else you want to share?
Absolutely. No, no, I think you've covered it all. We've talked about it. It feels good to just like be in this space where we're talking about it. So and pushing one another, like we're definitely each other's support system. So if you don't have a support system, I definitely encourage you to find someone who you can walk along with. And because I've been saying, like, this is a journey, and I say it again, but it's better when you have someone to walk along with you. And so yeah, that's all I had to say.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening. We will see you next month. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.
Yes, and as a reminder, we're on YouTube, so please like and comment and subscribe and share, and please, let others know that we're here. Tru You Podcast is here, and so we'll have another great episode next month. So, thanks everyone for listening. Till next month, bye everyone. Tru You is brought to you by Radiant Vessels and sponsored by Proviso Partners for Health.